Welcome to the National Manufacturing Debates 2012 at Cranfield University, and welcome to Victor Higgs, Managing Director of Applied Nanotechnologies. Victor, you spoke in your presentation this morning about the fact that the UK has not invested enough in nanotechnology and that we don't have a national programme in the way that some other countries do. Could you explain to me why that's significant for the sector and the position that it's now put the UK nanotechnology supply chain in comparison to some other nations?
I think that what's happening with nanotechnology now, there's close to estimated a market for about $2 trillion, and about, I'd say, 1/8 of all manufactured products are actually using some part of nanotechnology. So nanotechnology isn't a specific technology, it's an enabling technology. It really can improve all products, really, in terms of making the manufacturing more efficient, making them stronger and lighter. And there's phenomenal opportunities from developing these innovative products. And that's really what you can see from the worldwide funding point of view. There's close to 11 billion being spent in that area. And I think, unfortunately, what happened into the UK, at the time the programme was set up, it was much more focused on a very delocalised number of fixed centres across the UK, and maybe not so much focus on actually making them, engaging with manufacturers in the supply chain to make these new products. And unfortunately, what's really happened in the last 8 years, a lot of that early research work now is actually going into product development and actually into products, which is going across many industry manufacturing sectors, even automobile and medical. So what's happening, the real benefits of all that research is really adding value to all those economies. I think in the UK, unfortunately, because we didn't leverage that opportunity, many other countries are now taking advantage of that. The other real benefit of the national programme, I think it really raises the credibility and awareness of technology, how it can really address societal issues, things like energy, medication, water desalination. And it has a phenomenal benefit to the country's wealth creation, new jobs and new opportunities. So I think what I would like to see is that maybe look at the lessons learned from what we've tried to achieve through that early stage funding, and how this could be applied to new technologies, things like graphene now, which I think there should be a much stronger engagement with industry very early on, looking at the applications. Comparing
the UK's system for promoting these kinds of new technologies and taking them through the manufacturing supply chain to some other nations, you mentioned in your presentation Germany, Japan and the USA as being particularly good for nanotechnology. You spoke in your presentation about some examples of other countries that have very good systems for supporting nanotechnology, particularly the USA, Japan, Germany. If those other countries have exemplar systems, what's stopping the UK from replicating those?
I think there's a number of challenges, and I think because nanotechnology really underpins many sectors, as I mentioned before, energy, healthcare, it's not looked upon as a specific industry. So I think the UK position is really more that it affects everything, so we really don't need a direct focus on that. And I think the reality is there's a number of challenges that need to be addressed, things like regulatory, and also the awareness, really making people aware of how these types of process could improve their products, help them differentiate and make more competitive solutions. Because what's going to happen in every market, companies are using this to add value to their business. So I think the UK needs to rethink this, because as I said before, every company is looking at ways to differentiate and create new innovative solutions.
You said in your presentation, talking about the awareness of nanotechnology and the realisation of what it can do, you said that it's more difficult in the UK to get people that you want to collaborate with, for example the NHS, to realise the value of what you're offering them, and it's easier to get that collaboration and that buy-in abroad. Will that lead to Applied Nanodetectors having to manufacture in places other than the UK?
I think the reality of growing any business is it's looking for the first customers, but more fundamentally it's making the sustainable market opportunities for us. And as I mentioned in my presentation, I really believe all the skills and all the facilities are actually here in the UK to do that. However, the best market opportunities for us are actually in Asia. And maybe what will happen, we will have to build up the credibility of the business in Asia and then look at coming back to developing those opportunities in the UK.
Mm. You mentioned marketing and branding as being something that's very important, particularly in Asia, for an SME trying to break into a new market. Do you think generally the value of marketing is realised by manufacturers?
I think especially in high technology, and especially with the readiness to adopt technology in the culture, especially in Asian countries. And if you think about the word nano is actually used in iPod Nano, the reason for that, it really adds tremendous value to the product. And I think there's a lot of cultural challenges in terms of if your target market sees the positive connotation of technology, then it's very important to leverage that through the marketing and branding. And I think one of the biggest challenges I think we have in the UK is looking at ways that we can leverage manufactured products here. What is the real value of those products? Is it quality, durability? And really putting that across to the target markets. And I really strongly believe that the best way for any company to grow is actually export. And that's a very competitive marketplace. And branding and marketing is fundamental to differentiate and show the value of those products. Mm.
Applied Nanodetectors is a micro UK startup with huge ambitions to grow, an exciting technology to take to market, and you've got all your IP protections in place. But you talked in your presentation about the difficulty of finding where you sit in the supply chain and building a strategy to take that forward. Can you explain a little bit more what you mean by that and what the challenges are?
I think one of the key challenges with any new technology is we want to extract the maximum value, the maximum revenue from our platform solutions. And we do not want to commoditize our solution very early on. So I think it was key at the beginning to think about if we were developing a chip, which essentially could be perceived as a component, how do we fit into that supply chain? Are we going to be as a tier 1 or tier 2? Or are we going to be an OEM? Or are we actually trying to generate new solutions? And I think what was pretty clear from engaging with the UK-based OEMs and manufacturers, they weren't so interested in these new types of solutions. And I think what we really had to think carefully was where we added the most value, where was the biggest opportunity for us to grow the business. And I think what we realised by engaging in Asia, it was pretty clear they were much more open to technology. They saw tremendous benefit in that, but not only in the supply chain, they saw many business models, many service opportunities. And that made us really think carefully that we had to be much more of a product higher up the supply chain to get the most value from what we're trying to achieve as a business. Mm.
Today's manufacturing debate subject is enhancing the supply chain for growth. So with relevance to your own company and the nanotechnology sector, what issues would you like to see raised at this afternoon's debate?
I think that, as I was trying to allude to, I really believe that there really needs to be more of a national focus. And I think what I've seen from nanotechnology is that the countries that seem to have that as part of their political or industrial focus utilise that to leverage the companies in that sector and sell that internationally, so to compete on an international scale. So I really believe a national focus does two things. It helps to focus down the real value in the UK and then look at ways that could be exported or into new markets. But more fundamentally, I think it really needs to think along the lines of the vision and awareness and improving. You know, if you're thinking about generating the next generation of engineers and inspiring people, I think a national programme would not only coordinate the value of UK manufacturing, it could also raise the awareness in everyday minds about what manufacturing really is, how it really creates value to the UK, how it affects the UK economy. And I think it will fundamentally inspire the next generation of engineers to look for new opportunities in the UK manufacturing sector.
Focusing on inspiring the next generation, you mentioned in your presentation a Taiwanese nanotech education program for 5-year-olds, which is designed to inspire them to take the career on in later life. Do you think in the UK we're overcautious and we tend to oversimplify the kind of introductions we give to primary school children of industry and career options?
I think in every society, I think there's different views about how we should look at ways to educate children and introduce them to new concepts. And I really strongly believe, especially in the nanotechnologies sector, where it's developing the next generation of engineers that that have broad cross-discipline skills in biochemistry and physics. I believe that Taiwan has really focused on generating those skill sets in their engineers for wealth creation. So coming back to the UK, this type of education program, I think, exists more at the postgraduate level. And I really believe these kinds of books and education programs can actually open up new opportunities for children to think about their careers and think about how you do make things and how you create new innovative solutions. So I think it would be great to see this kind of approach used in schools.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Okay, thanks.